Paranormal Playback is a podcast where we recap the spooky and entertaining world that is paranormal reality TV. We are hosted by Acast. Warning: Paranormal Playback contains dark stories. It is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
For this week's episode, speaking of,
have you all noticed that we speak about production often?
yes,
Is that something?
Or is that, or we just
or
full of
the only
ourselves?
ones who notice it?
a little bit, hi, real quick.
Yes, hello. Welcome
Hi.
back
Welcome.
to another episode.
To Paranormal Playback. I'm Mel, stealing Char's intro real quick.
Yeah, well, it's totally fine. I'm Char, if you didn't know who I was.
And I'm Laura.
Yeah, and real quick, before Char gets into what she normally does, if you are currently listening on Spotify, you will notice a few things. And if you're listening on other platforms, we have added a couple of things into our episodes, including chapters. So if you don't like our intro, or you don't like a certain segment, or if you're trying to just find your spot,
Shame on you.
Or if you
Well,
just
first of all, shame on you.
absolutely
Yeah,
hate
shame
us.
on you.
Or if you don't want to hear our silly banter in the beginning, I get it. I skip through a lot of shit in other podcasts. We've made it a lot easier for you to select through chapters. Of course, my dog's going to do the thing where he digs a hole right now. This is why you're not allowed in here, Nash. Anyway, so we have chapters.
Speaking of digging holes.
Speaking of digging holes, we have chapters within the podcast to help with that. And we've also added some engagement polls on Spotify that we would love for you guys to answer. We'll do one about production for this episode. And we've also added some clips to Spotify as well for little sneak previews of the episode and what the content is about. So if you're going through trying to find which one to watch, check out our clips.
Yeah.
Let us know if you like this in the comments and the reviews. Leave us a review, subscribe, follow.
In addition to all the things that Mel just said, we've also started splitting our episodes into two
Yes.
to give you guys a little bit more content throughout the week, but also to make our episodes not quite as lengthy as they had been. So we're looking at hopefully 45-minute to an hour episodes, and hopefully you like that and you don't mind the split, but you know, we're open to feedback, so let us know what you think.
Lauren, did you say your name, Lauren?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
I did the finger guns.
Oh, finger guns.
No, I'm just kidding. I did say my name out loud this time.
Amazing.
Yes, very proud of you.
I'm getting used to this whole podcast thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Words are the thing. Audio is a big part of it.
So, Lauren, do you have any paranormal tea for us this week?
I actually do. Hold on.
Get ready for the tea.
Here come
with
the glasses.
Lauren.
Oh yeah, it's time for reading the tea
With Lauren.
So, as every paranormal fan knows, the Annabelle doll that Ed and Lorraine Warren, their estate owns.
Ed and Lorraine Warren are no longer with us on this plane. They are
This
now
astral
on
plane.
on this astral plane.
Yes.
They are now on the other side.
Yes, they are the famous,
OGs.
the OG paranormal investigators. They own that famous Annabelle doll. It is now going on tour, but there was a rumor going around that it went missing or somebody stole it. So,
If you head over to our Instagram, you might get a glimpse of the theft in action.
Yes, with a
Yes.
snapshot.
yes.
Our proposed subject. Suspect.
Yes, we actually have a suspect in mind, and we have some live footage. We might have caught the culprit, if you will. So,
But in actuality, Lauren, what did happen with the Annabelle doll?
so the Annabelle doll did not get stolen. That was just a rumor. So she is alive and well, as you.
Well, technically, the spirit inside of her may not be living, but
well,
Do you guys think it's funny that and Annabelle's like the crazy, spooky, super haunted doll?
the rag doll.
It's Raggedy Ann, which I
Yes.
didn't know.
Yeah. They make it for the movie, they make it look like it's some
It's
sort
like
of
a porcelain doll. It's more
porcelain
of a
doll,
porcelain doll, but it is like an actual Raggedy Ann doll.
Raggedy Ann,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
And
real
Ed
one.
and Lorraine Warren had a haunted museum, which Zach is like has tried to copy completely. So we'll leave you with that. But I do find it funny that the doll went on tour the same time they're doing all the Final Destination promo. Did you see that a woman,
The ceiling collapsed
the roof collapse?
What?
during
So during
the showing of the Final
can't
Destination movie.
make this shit up. During a showing of Final Destination, the new one, the ceiling collapsed onto a woman.
Well, it actually, if you actually see the image, it's not just on the woman. The entire ceiling collapsed.
Yeah.
Like the entire ceiling.
Did they say if anybody was killed?
No,
Surely someone was injured.
I think people got injured. But you know, the PR team for Final Destination was like, score.
I would both
You know?
be like, this is awesome and terrible at the same time.
It's terrifying.
I mean, it's terrifying, but also like kind of great for the movie.
I mean, yeah. How many Final Destination movies were there? Like 6? I kind of stopped watching once they'd made it 3D.
Yeah,
But
we
which death stuck with y'all the most?
So we just watched Final Destination 2 because we were talking about it. We were like, which one do we think is the best? And I was like, I think it's the second one. It's the one with the logs. Like the one with the log truck is the best one to me.
Yeah.
And that was the second one.
Yeah.
The opening scene is like always the most iconic.
Oh yeah. There's a whole generation of people out there who
don't
whenever they are on an airplane and put the tray table down, they feel completely secure and safe.
Yeah.
If anybody knows like what a Rube Goldberg machine is, it's like a death Rube Goldberg machine. Like I just think
Can you explain
what
that?
is that? A Rube Goldberg?
So a Rube Goldberg machine is like, it's like a chain reaction. So like one thing falls and then something else falls and then something else falls. So like
that's exactly what in the second one with the garbage disposal, that's what happens.
So it's like you know the game Mousetrap?
Oh, yeah.
So a Rube Goldberg machine is like where you kind of like set up all these contraptions and it's just a chain reaction. So like one thing affects another, that affects another, that affects another.
Like Home Alone is a lot of those.
Yes. Yeah. So, but it's pretty much like a death Rube Goldberg machine is Final Destination.
Can you imagine watching the newest one?
And then getting... So did the lady die?
I don't think anyone died.
Mm-mm.
But they were like, Final Destination screening.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's worth... The second one is worth going back and watching.
Yeah, I do also... The first one's a classic. I do love the first one.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, the
tea.
Annabelle doll did not actually get stolen. But if it were to get stolen, Zach Bagans probably would have been the culprit because we all know that he loves a good haunted doll.
He loves a haunted doll, and we can tell he would do anything to have every haunted item in his museum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
he must like every few years put in an offer on that doll, right?
I'm sure.
I mean, the fact that he paid $650,000 for the Poltergeist clown, you know,
right? Yeah, insane.
Why?
And he has an affinity for dolls, like the Cabbage Patch doll. So it's not like it's anything that's beneath him. And that's
definitely
the tea.
Not. That's the tea
from Lauren with Lauren.
So, like I mentioned, we are going to start splitting the episodes into 2. So tonight we are going to be covering part 1 of Ghost Adventures season 29, episode 6, Living Dead on La Brea. This episode will feature some This Old Haunt with Mel, as well as the interviews from Zach and the gang with, all of their fun characters who they interview, and night 1 of their investigation. And then we'll pick up with part 2 on the actual lockdown, and then some haunted and hoax in part 2. So stay tuned for that. We are planning on having part 1's release on Sunday evenings and part 2's release on Wednesday evenings.
Just when you're feeling that lack of Zach on a Wednesday night after the finale, we'll be here.
Yeah. So we won't make you go too long without an explanation on what actually happens. Okay. The episode begins with Zach. I just
With
realized
the
with the
Zachary
Zach.
Bacon.
I don't know why I wrote it like that. With the Zach explaining that there is a lot of devastation in California at the moment. He is explaining that LA is being hit by a pineapple express, which I thought was only a strain of weed, but have now since learned that it's an actual tropical storm of some sort.
I didn't know that either. I
Or
heard him say that,
weather.
but I didn't even remotely know what he was talking about.
Yeah, I Googled it because I was like, what is a pineapple express?
Yeah.
So apparently it's kind of like a hurricane, but not as strong. But it was still devastating for California because rain like that causes a lot of trees to fall down and landslides. My dogs have not barked all night, and now all of a sudden they're barking.
For these storms, was this shortly before the wildfires? You
It
think?
must have been, or I mean, doesn't it seem like they filmed most of this in October?
Yeah, that was when I think that in October, that was when the Asheville flooding happened, and it was all around the same time, right?
Yeah, we could probably Google it, but
Yeah,
it's okay.
true.
I thought Aaron was extra cute in this episode.
Oh my God, yes.
He
Don't you
was.
think?
He
Yes.
was
So cute.
great. I really liked this episode, actually.
I did too.
Yeah, so I was actually gonna say this. I had mixed feelings about this episode, but
Yeah.
ultimately I really liked it, and I
Mhm.
was like, it felt like old Ghost Adventures to
Mhm.
me. Like it wasn't as, even though there's gimmicks in it, it wasn't as gimmicky
Mhm.
as
It
like
wasn't as scripted.
it wasn't as scripted. It wasn't Whiskey Pete's where they were like desperately trying to make something out of nothing.
Yeah. They're human in it. It has their
Yeah.
banter, what makes their relationship fun, and like
Well,
the
that's-
years of knowing each other.
That's what I
coming through.
liked. I was like, oh, they're friends, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Not these just like cold, like sterile
Yeah.
moments.
And that's my thing is like if there's nothing to talk about, then don't talk about anything. But if there
Yeah.
is stuff to talk about, then let's talk about it. But like the putting on or the faking it just doesn't feel genuine, and I think we know that. I think the audience can tell. But a hurricane will not stop Zach and the gang from doing an investigation. So Zach explains that they're going to be investigating the Women's Club of Hollywood, which is located at 1749 North La Brea Avenue in Los Angeles, California. I'm telling you the address because as of right now, it's the Women's Club of Hollywood, but they do go through the many different things it had been since it was built in 1903. And I'm sure Mel will get into all of that in this old haunt. But the list they give us is a residence, a schoolhouse, a drug den, and more. He goes on to tell us that celebrities like Carol Lombard, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., and Jean Harlow all attended the school here. I only knew Jean Harlow out of all of those people. And then he also says Charlie Chaplin, Mary Pickford, and many other luminaries have frequented the Women's Club, which is a social club that has drawn the famous and served the community since 1905.
What do you do at a social club?
I don't know. You pay money to be able to be around other people who are in the same class as you is what I think.
Yeah, it's like a
is.
country club without the tennis.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like
Just drinking.
when I lived in New York, Soho House was like a social club that you wanted to be a part of. And I had no money at the time, so I was not a part of it. But yeah, so this is basically a really large building that has an old schoolhouse behind it. And it's been there for a really long time. So that kind of sums it up. But before we get into what I could only see as Zach jumping the shark with some of his dramatics in this episode, like a Model T and some actors set up inside of a bar, like something out of The Shining. Mel.
Yeah. I know. I was like, what?
I
loved that. I thought it was so
it was
cute.
it was cute. It was cute. Also in the moment at first I was like, what are we doing? What am I watching?
Yeah.
So I was all thrown off.
I did think it was sweet.
It's cute.
Yeah, but after I saw the entire episode, I enjoyed that part a lot more.
It is the flow of this whole season has been very
Yeah.
There's no continuity
I
with
kind
the
of I
structure.
kind of like it though because you don't really know what you're gonna get, so it is kind of
I
nice to like
I will
change it
say
up.
I every other episode this season made me go, I'm kind of done with the show.
Yeah.
This episode made me go, oh, I could do more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they're just like, you know what? Fuck it. We're on season 29. Let's just throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, and maybe they're like, let's just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I could
Yeah.
totally understand that.
Yeah.
But before we get into all of those dramatics, Mel, do you want to run us through this old haunt?
Do I? All right, ladies and gentlemen and shadows in the corners, buckle up. On today's episode of This Old Haunt, we're heading to Hollywood, where dreams are made and apparently so are shallow graves. The setting, a former girls' school with a guest list that once read like a who's who of early Tinseltown. Fast forward a century and it's less red carpet, more red flags. So let's dig in.
Before we get into more details about the history, can we kind of describe about like what the grounds look like?
It's basically an old building that's like an L shape. It's like Spanish style building, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, with the Spanish like clay shingles
Mm-hmm.
on the roof. And then in the back, like behind the building, is a schoolhouse, and then there's like a little courtyard or something that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of separating the two. And then there was also a shed, but it was even from the episode, even when they showed shots from above, I still struggled to figure out like where was the cottage in relation to the schoolhouse in relation to the building.
And where
Yeah.
are these apartments that they're talking about?
It depends on the era, but I've got a little description. The original Hollywood School for Girls looked more like an elegant estate than a typical schoolhouse. Picture a sprawling white stucco building with a red tiled roof, shaded by palms and eucalyptus trees, with ivy climbing up its walls. The grounds were lush and manicured, with stone paths winding through rose gardens and citrus trees. Inside, the school had sunlit rooms with high ceilings, arched doorways, and detailed woodwork that gave it a distinctly old Hollywood charm. More Gatsby than geometry class.
That sounds so much nicer than what it actually looked like to me.
Like that was like in
When
its
it
prime.
yeah.
So founded in 1909 by Sophie Hogan, the Hollywood School for Girls moved to a residence on La Brea Avenue in 1915 under Principal Louise Knappen.
Sorry, before you even get any further, was it built in 1903?
It's unclear. It has
Okay.
mystery origins, and
Hmm.
I was actually confused when I started the episode because you guys know I do the research ahead of time.
Yeah.
And there was the women's club, and then there was the school, which both started in different places. But the school was at this location prior to the women's club, which I'll get into.
Yes. Okay. That's how I understood it. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because he said, I think they said 1903. And then I had Googled the women's club because I was trying to understand the schoolhouse. And I found something similar and I was trying to make sense of it. And I was like, forget it. I'm going to wait till
It's
May, till Mel
confusing.
explains it.
Yeah, it's very murky. So the school was founded in 1909 at a mystery location for some reason we don't know. And then it was moved onto La Brea in 1915 under Principal Louise Knappen. I'm assuming that K is silent. Who lived on site until her marriage to architect William Lee Woollett. The school expanded to include outdoor classrooms and cottages. It catered to children of Hollywood elites, with students like Douglas Fairbanks Jr., Jean Harlow, and Joel McCrea.
Yeah.
Okay, Joel McCrea. Notably, Edith Head, who later became an Academy Award-winning costume designer, taught French there. Oui, oui. So the school closed in 1932 due to the Great Depression. Side note, I've noticed most of these episodes have been weirdly centered around
The
the
depression.
20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So
And
the property later became an artist colony known as Studio Village, hosting residents like sci-fi artist Chelsea Bonestell. In 1945, the Hollywood Women's Club purchased the site, converting the original schoolhouse into guest apartments. So a little bit of a timeline here of some hauntings. So in 1909, Again, the Hollywood School for Girls was founded by Sophie Hogan, educating the daughters of Hollywood's elite.
Any relation to Hulk Hogan? Just curious.
Not that was flagged.
Okay.
Okay, the school moved to La Brea Ave in 1915, and Louise Knappen becomes principal and resides on site. 1920s, peak glamour years. Students include Douglas Fairbanks, Jean Harlow, Joel McCrae. Edith Head teaches French before winning 8 Oscars for costume design. Casual. She still holds the greatest number.
She taught French and she was a costume designer?
So she taught French and later went on to be the most awarded costume designer in Oscar history with 8 Oscars for costume design.
You go, girl.
That's cool.
You go, Edith. So after the Women's Club purchased the property and preserved a part of the schoolhouse, converting it into apartments, it remained a functioning club of Hollywood until the 2000s, when reports of paranormal activity began to gain traction, ghostly girls, voices, and cold spots. This is where it gets a little unclear, and we'll talk about this throughout both part 1 and part 2 of the show, but there's mention of some bones that are unearthed during this episode, and without giving too much away, it's very murky, the information on these bones. One, when they're discovered, there are some moments on the internet, or places, moments on the internet. There are some
documentation.
There's some documentation that claims Ghost Adventures discovered it, but like when I read it, it was like Ghost Adventures discovered it on the show, and I was like, oh shit, that's going to be like a big thing if they found bones while they were filming.
I mean, even on the show, they say that they're not the ones who.
But then on the show, they're like, oh, this girl Lisa discovered these bones, the gardener, and there's like some bad blood with her and the owner because of these bones, and she like put them in the shed after she discovered them.
Yeah.
So they were discovered sometime between 2020 and 2025. But there is no report of any sort of police investigation. What would you do if you found bones on your property?
Well, right. Why?
It has to be official.
Maybe. Okay.
It's not.
Okay. So we're just going to say this right now. We know we're in this old haunt. They never explained to us what the bad blood is between Lisa and the owners. I'm wondering if the bad blood is that she wanted to report the bones and maybe they didn't want to.
For some reason. I mean, this is getting into Mel's Got a Theory territory, but they weren't allowed to go on that second floor.
Ooh.
And right. I'm like, what are y'all doing up there? You know, like,
well, they said it was unsafe.
What,
so
why?
I thought it was like, but I thought it was unsafe. Like it's an old.
Isn't
building.
That what you would say if you didn't want someone to go up there?
Right. I don't know. I definitely thought it was strange that they didn't know if they were human bones, and that there was like really no explanation of the bad blood. And I was like, it has to be something along the lines of like, she discovered the bones and then wanted to report them and they didn't want to. And that she wouldn't even say that on camera because she knew that they were recording them on their security cameras. So I was like, it's got to be something legal that she doesn't want to get in trouble for saying.
I thought that she started acting weird is what the bad blood was.
But the woman, Zach asks the owner, and the owner never explains it. I think there's more to it.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely something there. They, like, glossed over it completely. So, getting into crimes, deaths, and suspicious activity. As we mentioned in the episode, a gardener, who we'll talk about later, discovered bones in a shallow grave on the property. This kind of coincides with reports of emotional distress among the staff as of late, and suggests a possible connection between the remains and the building's haunted reputation. Apparently, some witnesses have reported sightings of a ghostly girl in white, unexplained voices, and physical sensations like sudden cold spots, which we'll kind of see as we get into the investigation from the Ghost Adventures crew. In terms of notable incidents dark chapters in the property. The other dark chapter, and they kind of went into this, but didn't. Like, this is where I think, Charlie, we mentioned before, like, we all liked this episode. I both really liked this episode and really didn't, because I feel like narratively it was all over the place, and they didn't really set the stage of where we were or like what any of the issues were. They just kind of like went in and they were like, here's this psychic. And then Zach, it almost felt like an editing flop where Zach should have introed and then they met the psychic. But anyway, in between 1958 and 1968, the Women's Club of Hollywood served as a base for Wesley A. Swift, a preacher known for his white supremacist views. Swift's sermons and activities during this period contributed to the formation of the Aryan Nations, a recognized hate group. Yep. I do have a bit more information on Swift because Zach kind of calls him out he mentioned something about satanic stuff, which is not what I had found. So I did a little bit of a deeper dive on him. Not too deep, but.
So the women's group hosted a man?
He would do his sermons in the auditorium.
Yeah. So Zach's kind of calling Wesley Swift a cult leader with satanic ties. We're going to unpack that a little bit. Swift wasn't your garden variety preacher. He was the architect of a twisted theology that combined white supremacy with a perverse interpretation of Christianity. He embraced and propagated the Christian identity movement, a belief system asserting that white Anglo-Saxons are the true descendants of the biblical Israelites, which makes absolutely no biological sense.
It makes zero sense. And I think I even wrote this when they actually get to his part in the episode, but I was like, we can thank Wesley Swift for the current state of our country.
Yeah. He also believed that Jews and non-whites are inferior or even satanic beings. So as far as Christian identity and the serpent seed doctrine, Swift's teachings, they were rooted in British Israelism, but he took it further by introducing the serpent seed doctrine. This belief persists. That's a weird word. This belief.
Posits?
Posits?
I think that's what that word is.
Okay, thank you. My brain. This belief states that non-white races are the offspring of even Satan, thus inherently evil. So was he a cult leader? Absolutely. He didn't just preach, he indoctrinated. His influence extended through radio broadcasts and the establishment of paramilitary groups like the California Rangers. His teachings laid the groundwork for several white supremacist and extremist groups. As far as satanic ties, they aren't the way that Zach says it. And sorry, I know I'm kind of weaving in here, but figured we'd get all the shitty racist stuff out of the way, hopefully. As far as satanic, it's not the way that Zach implies. His ideology it demonized the Jewish people and non-whites, labeling them as literal descendants of Satan. So while not satanic worship, his doctrines were certainly obsessed with satanic imagery projected onto those he deemed inferior. And in the 1950s and 60s, he used the Women's Club of Hollywood as a base for his activities. The building became a hub for his extremist teachings and, of course, left a dark stain on the property's history, contributing to its eerie reputation today. So Zach's not completely off base in saying that he's a cult leader. His use of the Women's Club as a platform for these beliefs adds a chilling layer to the building's history. Whether or not spirits linger, the real horror lies in the very human capacity of hate. So these are more no hauntings. This is just pure old-fashioned shitty
hate and negative, like evil.
Yeah, but that
negative
draws
energy.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It leaves a stain. But there were never any like ritual.
There was no ritual. Yeah,
there weren't like killings or anything like that. It was the start of. I mean, it led to that, of course.
Yeah.
And I just want to take this moment to say that this podcast specifically has no tolerance for hatred, racism, anti-Semitism, anything like that. This is something we all feel strongly about. So if you're not okay with that, then this may not be the place for you.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah. We believe woman has a right to her body and love is love. So
Exactly.
if you don't like it,
Oh, well.
sorry.
Lauren, do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm head nodding.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, so that's like the darkest part of this location's past, of course. And they didn't really go into this in the show, which is shocking, probably because it's not Native American land, but
Probably.
You
It
get
did.
a Native American curse.
you get a curse. You get a curse. But La Brea Avenue has been the site of various violent incidents over the years. Notably, in 2017, a woman was stabbed near the intersection of La Brea and Lexington Avenue,
Oh my God.
which is an area apparently already marked by previous violent events.
Is that a busy road?
Yeah, La Brea. It's a really long
It's a really long road.
It's where the Hasidic Jewish people live.
Mm.
If you ever drive down La Brea and you see like the Jewish,
Like they'll be
men with
like
the little
walking to and from the
curls.
temple. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also Jewish History Month. Happy Jewish History Month to all of our Jewish listeners out there. So reported hauntings and paranormal claims. It's long been the subject of ghost stories and paranormal investigations. Witnesses have reported, again, sightings of a ghostly girl in white, believed to be a former student or a nun. Don't know why it would be a nun.
I'm like, where'd the nun come from?
I don't know. Appearing in hallways or windows, disembodied voices and whispers have been heard. And then, of course, the cold spots, the feelings of being watched, and unexplained touches. Nothing super crazy. But in closing, what do you get when you mix Hollywood ambition, a century-old girls' school, and a surprise skeleton in the garden? A script even the studios wouldn't touch. That's it for today's episode of This Old Haunt, where the past isn't just prologue, it's a full-blown haunting. Until next time, keep your EMF detectors charged and your skepticism sharper than Jack. Keep your Until next time, keep your EMF detectors charged and your skepticism sharper than Zach's hairline.
Thank you, Mel, for This Old Haunt.
Thanks, Mel.
So now we can get into our actual episode. Zach explains to us that his psychic friend, Patty Negri, who, like I just said, we met in the Houdini episode, has invited them out because she's concerned about the people who work at the Women's Club of Hollywood. They don't make this as super clear, but at one point they do say Patty Negri is part of the social club.
Oh.
So it is still active. That's how I put together that it was active, because she and the psychic who does the investigation with them in this episode are both part of the social club.
I figured the second woman was.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that Patty was.
And then I think at one point Zach even says Patty, or maybe the psychic says that she and Patty are the only ones who've been allowed to investigate because they're part of the social club. So
Secret
society.
It's like the Masons, but
I know.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I was
with
thinking.
with ladies. They didn't have a bed of nails, though,
no,
that we know of. Maybe that's what's on
just
the
a bed
second
of
floor.
bones.
A bed of shallow grave of bones.
Yeah.
So she's concerned about the people who work at the Women's Club of Hollywood. Zach tells us that she's arranged a ride to take them to meet her. All of a sudden, I think maybe inspired by their last episode, 2 old Ford Model Ts show up to pick up the guys. Zach and the crew get into the cars, and then Zach rolls his window down and asks for some Grey Poupon, which I now realize is a reference that I don't know if anybody under the age of like 35 would really get.
I thought you were going to say you don't know.
No. I was saying like only children from the early 90s would really find the Grey Poupon thing amusing.
What is that from again? It's not Pretty Woman, is
No,
it?
it's a commercial.
No, it was a commercial.
It's the Grey Poupon commercial.
There was a guy in a limo who
he had like the white gloves.
Oh,
He had a tuxedo, and he would say, "Do you have any Grey Poupon?"
Do you have any
yeah.
Grey Poupon?
Yes. Real quick, we missed a part from the intro. One of the weird recreations.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know
I
what.
skipped all of
What?
them. I
Oh,
don't know why.
was it before or after
It was
the?
before.
Oh,
It was before we met Patty. There's one
Mhm.
moment in the beginning where it's like a lot of negative space and some sort of like arched light, and then there's this figure that literally looks like a raw chicken, like
What?
going like this. And I could not
Ew.
figure out what the fuck it was. I mean, like I'm talking about like a chicken from the store.
Yeah, no. I understand what you mean by raw chicken.
It was just I could not fathom what I was looking at. And all I could get was it looks like somebody's like swinging the arms of a raw chicken.
Lauren, please insert footage of raw chicken here.
I'll start.
It's
Raw
in the
chicken.
very, very beginning. Yeah, raw chicken.
I will
here.
actually do full screen. Full
Yeah.
full
Punch in on the
full
chicken.
bleed.
Yeah. Should we say more industry terms? Should we circle back?
Let's circle back
Yeah.
on that. Okay. So the cars now drive the guys to the Hollywood Legion, which it appears has been hit by a tree in this crazy Pineapple Express storm that's going on. Zach tells us that this is not a coincidence. He tries to make it seem as if this tree has fallen on the Hollywood Legion because of their presence. And I was like, I agree that it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that there is a massive storm and a tree fell. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah, less spiritual, more meteorological.
But I'm sorry, Zach, that tree had nothing to do with you. Like, you are not the center of the universe. That is
Also,
not why that tree
they're
fell.
not investigating that location.
No, not at all. And he was like, we investigated this location before.
This is a sign.
This is a sign. A sign of what? Anyway, so they
That
answer
it doesn't want you to be there.
right. Or maybe you shouldn't be investigating during a tropical storm.
They did show an incredibly amusing flashback of Zach, though, where he seemed genuinely
Oh,
terrified.
I know. I saw
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Which made me chuckle.
Yeah. So they enter the Hollywood Legion to find that the bar has been transformed to be a 1940s bar with old-timey ladies sitting at the counter and an old-fashioned bartender. It literally looked like a scene out of The Shining.
It really did.
Lauren, I
Where
just
no one
have to-
acknowledges.
Yeah.
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 I just have to say in my notes, Lauren, I wrote, see, told you it was scripted, Lauren.
Damn it.
I
knew it.
I enjoyed this. This was fun.
It was cute. It
Yeah.
was definitely cute.
It's a fun way of doing it.
I actually liked at one point one of the guys at the bar like tries to tap on the shoulder of one of the women and she's just like, ew, don't talk to me. And it was just like they're clearly like excited to be acting on the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, Patty Negri is also sitting inside this bar at a table. So Zach asks Patty to explain what is going on. She talks about how there is tons of tension that seems to have come out of nowhere amongst those who work at the Women's Club of Hollywood. She even went as far as explaining that it was people who she'd never thought she would see fighting.
Can I just say
Yeah.
that, like, blaming tension between people on, like, being paranormal?
Oh, yeah.
I just find that so bizarre.
It is
And,
the
like,
most hilarious thing I've ever heard.
The personalities of these two individuals.
I just love that Patty was very like, this has to be
Paranormal.
a paranormal problem.
Yeah. Also,
and I was
it's
like,
a
it sounds
social
like
club.
it's yeah, exactly. Like people don't always get along, but okay.
Well, and they're all eccentric and, you know, they're drinking and, you know, stuck in their ways. And
Yeah, they're a bunch of like
and
socialites of Hollywood.
And
of course they're
that one lady is obviously paranoid.
Yeah. So she specifically brings up how the gardener has been affected after digging up bones that Patty keeps insisting are human bones. And that bothered me because as far as I could tell, they were never tested or anything.
Well,
Like,
and
how do you know they're
yet you're
human?
not calling the police.
And right, when did we call the cops?
But she did say she thinks they're human bones, which is an odd thing
Yeah.
to
But
not confirm.
they say it a few times. And I'm like, stop saying they're human bones if you have not tested them.
Well, also, who keeps that to themselves?
No. Also,
Sus people.
sorry, but I would have gone to the cops regardless of what anybody else wanted.
Call in
Well, now the cops know.
I
They're
know.
like, excuse
Right.
me, do you have some human bones on your property?
So I also thought, how do we know it wasn't like a dog, like a pet? Like, we don't know for sure. Anyway, so Patty says that it got so bad that the gardener got fired, but Zach has been given permission to interview her on the property, regardless of the fact that she was asked not to come back. So they head back to the Women's Club of Hollywood and begin interviewing the gardener, Lisa Murphy. Zach tried to ask her about the bad blood between her and the club officers, but she refuses to talk about it because she knows that they can hear everything she says on their security camera, and she points out where it is. I also pointed out that you are being filmed for a nationally televised TV show. So also, they're going to hear everything you say from that.
The way I didn't realize she was pointing out the security camera. But now that you mention it, they did show the security camera. But the way she made it sound was like there's like the spy dude with the little dish, the handheld dish thing on a ladder behind her, you know?
That is
Lauren,
not,
insert cutout of spy dude.
Yeah.
that's not how I interpreted
Dish.
it. But it's a fun
It just
visual.
felt very like conspiracy theory. Like she was like, like it was like a very much like behind me. Over
She said there's
bush
a
or-
microphone behind me, and then she said on the security camera, and then she points at it, and then they zoomed in on it for a long time. So Lisa explains that her first week of working there, she saw a white dress go by. She says that she felt like it was a girl that had a white nightgown on. We see a reenactment of a girl with no face in a hole that has been dug out to set the scene for us. Then Lisa says that there was always a good feeling associated with this girl. She says that all this changed after she had a grand mal seizure that she believes to be the result of a demonic attack, which,
Do we know what a grand mal seizure is?
I mean, I generally do. It's like a really bad seizure. It's like, I think it lasts a really long time, and the convulsing is like worse
Like
than
violent?
normal. Yeah, it's like violent, and we can tell that from all the blood. So
What was the blood from? Her biting her tongue?
no, so
her hitting her head.
Yeah, so we see actual photographs of Lisa's seizure captured on the facility's security cameras. You see her very bloody and trying to get up, and it was really graphic. She tells us that she had to get 6 stitches in the back of her head.
Did they show her actually having the seizure, or just like when she grabs onto the door?
No, they couldn't. They get into that. They couldn't show us that because the camera got messed up while it happened. Which that's what part of the reason why she thinks it's demonic. So
okay, I was confused during that part when she was like, there was a flash and I'm walking.
Okay, so Lisa tells us that after the seizure, she rewatched the security footage and was trying to find herself in the auditorium where this happened. But during the period while she was having the seizure, she sees a flash on the camera, and then
you missing.
You can see an orb, but you can't see her actually having the seizure. And she kept rewatching it because you can see when she walks out, but then you can't actually see the seizure happening. So she was like bothered by it. She was trying to find the footage. And I mean, probably for like workman's comp reasons too. She was probably trying to find it, and she couldn't actually find it.
And yeah, the perspective of that was
weird.
Confusing,
it was like
because you start from the bottom left, but then she's bloody coming into the door in the top right. It seems like she would be walking across and going out the door, but she's coming in the door.
And
I saw a big like flash, of like overexposure kind of thing, which maybe she had the seizure and like knocked a lamp over. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I didn't see an orb, unless that was the orb, like really, really big.
So Lisa tells us that she was unaware of the building's history, and that when she started digging deeper into the lore, it all started making sense to her. She says that during the late 60s, early 70s, during the time when a lot of cults were coming to LA, a gentleman named Wesley Swift used to do sermons in the auditorium. Zach explains to us that Wesley Wesley Swift, which I really hope he's not related to Taylor. Let's just pretend that's not true. That Wesley Swift pioneered the white supremacist Christian identity movement, just like Mel said, which asserted that Satan created non-whites and Jews. Lisa believes that this white supremacist cult brought on the darkness. Zach now asks Lisa about the bones she found. She takes them to the area where there is a cement wall on either side of this hollowed out ground. So it very much looked like a grave. Like you see cement and like chicken wire, it looked like, around the edges of it, so that whoever buried these bones there was trying to bury them in like a respectful way, in my opinion, and not you like if you're trying to hide bones,
You just put it in dirt.
you just put them in the dirt. You don't build a grave.
Yeah. And you do it a little deeper.
Yeah.
But
I thought it
why
was
in
strange.
cement? Because like you don't
Maybe
do
it was
you
like
don't even
a drain that existed. Like it was covered over with dirt from it. You know,
Yeah.
it could have been an existing structure of the previous location.
It just seemed odd to me. Like it didn't seem like a nefarious burying, just because it did seem more thought out than that. I just feel like whenever I hear about like them unearthing bones that were from like a murder or something, it's usually in shallow ground that they're trying to hide. And this didn't seem like it was trying to be hidden.
Maybe they like lined it in cement so plants wouldn't, like roots couldn't.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's so much work. That's so much work if you think about it.
It was cement. It wasn't stones. It was cement.
I think she said a cement wall, or I might have written cement wall, but whatever I saw, it wasn't stones. It wasn't like brick or like stones just there together. It was like a solid piece of something. Clay, limestone, I don't know, something like that.
We're all about rocks here on Paranormal Playback.
Yeah, rocks come up a lot here.
So many rocks, so many Native American curses.
So
structures.
So she says when she started digging, that's when she started finding the bones. Unless they got these DNA tested, I'm going to assume that they are dog bones, but we'll see how this unfolds. I'm here to spoil it for myself and say that they never get them tested, and there's no evidence to prove whether or not these were human or not. And my thing is also like, even if the bones were big, there are very big dogs. Like
there's also a difference between like a dog bone and then like a fucking femur bone of a human. You know?
Yeah.
But I did do a deeper dive on this.
Do you want to talk about it?
If I can pop in for a minute. So this is kind of what I touched on a little bit earlier, where Zach and the crew kind of heavily imply that the bones were discovered prior to their investigation. They interview the club's owner and the gardener, who had since quit, and they describe long-standing tension, as you mentioned, and the way it's
the gardener
framed.
quit or got fired.
She got fired, I thought. Oh. Yeah, because she was not invited back to the premises except for Zach to interview her.
Maybe they each tell a different tale. But the way it's framed suggests that the bones were found some time ago, leading to bad blood between the former employee and the owner over whether it was reported properly, if it was covered up, etc. The gardener says she found the bones while digging, stored them in the shed, and eventually walked away from the job. The owner appears shaken and defensive, and the crew uses this tension to kind of build emotional stakes of the episode. So what we actually know: the bones were not confirmed human. There's no public record from LAPD or coroner's offices confirming that these were tested, submitted, or classified. There are no news reports outside of the episode that verify this was ever officially investigated. Some viewers on Reddit and forums have raised concerns that this was sensationalized for the show, especially since the bones were allegedly stored in a shed, which is like super unorthodox and possibly illegal if it's human.
Yeah.
And no visible law enforcement or forensic presence was shown to reference. So, in summary, this gardener finds what might be human remains, sticks them in a shed like leftovers, and the club owner just says, let's keep them there. But instead of calling, the police, we get a paranormal investigation and a reality show feud. So if these bones are real, this is a potential crime scene. If they're not, it's a prop in this ghost story. Bad lighting. Or either way, I mean, it's sus.
So going off of the prior theory, so who's the bad blood between?
Oh, the owner and the gardener.
So the owner. What if the owner buried something, like a person? What if the owner killed someone, buried the body? The gardener's like digging it up, like, oh, what's these bones? Let's report it.
You know what I can see?
And the owner's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Stop raising these red.
Okay, so my only thing is, why then would she allow the TV show to come in and do this? Because now we're just drawing attention to the fact that there were bones there. That's the only thing that doesn't make any sense to me.
It's weird. I feel like they had bad tension before this, for one.
Yeah.
Maybe the owner thinks that she planted them there or something.
Like as if it's a prank or something.
Yeah, but what I can see the owner not... I mean, this is still a Hollywood social club where status is everything, right? And reputation is everything. And I can see an owner finding bones and being like, I don't care if it's a squirrel, a dog, or a person.
Yeah.
I can't have this ruining a reputation.
But that's what I was just thinking. But then I was like, why would she let the show come in then? Like, why would you
Maybe because they already had like haunting reports. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, something's not adding up.
Unless Patty had already spilled the tea to Zach and they were like, cat's out of the bag.
You know what, Lauren? I think we need to have, once in a while, we need to have an episode where we follow up on a lot of our like outstanding questions.
Theories.
That'd be good bonus content to do.
Like once we start our Patreon, I think we could totally do something where like you go back and find out about the feud between Aubrey and Marianne from last week. And we try to find out more about the feud between this gardener and this owner. Because there is something missing here. Something's not making sense.
Yeah, I think it could be good actually to also like even me following up on things I found in research that I wasn't able to say on the show.
Yeah.
Like the and I wonder, rooms
could we reach out to those people? Like could we reach out to Aubrey and be like, "Hey, we saw the episode. We'd love to have you on our show. Now? We'd love to understand more what happened between you and Marianne. We thought she was a bitch.
Tell your story.
Yeah, we would love for you to tell your story.
Yeah.
Because she would love to.
Guys.
Holly Madison, tell us your side of the story.
What better place to cathartically talk shit about your ex than our podcast where we do just that?
So Lisa takes the guys to the auditorium where she had the seizure. She explains that there had been blood everywhere. Zach says, "Why was your seizure so violent? Why was it so bloody?" Lisa says, "I have no idea." But I actually know the answer to this part. I don't know why the seizure was so violent, but I'm assuming it's because it was a grand mal seizure. That's why it was so violent. Mm-hmm. But also, the bloodiness can be explained. It was because she hit her head. Head wounds are some of the bloodiest wounds you can get. You see this all the time on like true crime shows and stuff. They always talk about when like somebody's been hit in the head. It is like some of the most horrific scenes you can see. So even a small head injury can look much worse than it is because you bleed so much from the head. So that really was not a mystery.
Not a forensic scientist over here, but I was a lifeguard and encountered a lot of little kids at Disney. Yeah, well, at Typhoon Lagoon, which was extreme. Okay, it was extreme.
I was going to say, Lauren, you just had this happen with Poppy where she hit her head. And
oh my God.
And head wounds bled so
And
much.
I thought that I was like, could be calm under pressure. Not like, I was like, could not find my phone. My daughter was like, I don't want to die.
No. Oh my God, Poppy.
I know. Because
Oh.
I was freaking out so much, you
Yeah, you're
know.
probably worried
Yeah.
she was like blind, I'm sure, from
Well, because
where.
Well,
it was like shooting blood. Like it was like,
it's the head wounds. They
Yeah.
just look like
well, because
insanity.
it was like split open on her, well, right on the bridge of your
It was the
nose
bridge of,
too,
yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
her eyebrow. So it was like
Oh.
split open right there.
All right. So, moving on from Lisa, I think we do go back to her one or two times. But Zach now introduces us to Rosemary Lord. What a name. She's the club's president. Very fitting name for the presidency of the Women's
Uh,
Social Club.
I also loved her accent.
Oh, yeah. It's very unexpected. I was like, oh, you're British. So he explains that there are rumors of Rosemary and the club's other officers having a mysterious falling out with Lisa, which means that Zach is here to investigate another feud, just like last week. Rosemary
And instigate it, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Rosemary tells Zach that she's definitely experienced paranormal things here. So, like I said, she doesn't actually explain the mysterious falling out at all. Like, he asks her about it, and then her response, or at least how they edited it, was that she's experienced paranormal things here. She's seen a little girl in the lounge, and that, in her words, the little girl was in black and white, almost as if she was like in an old film. She says that the girl was skipping across the floor and that she went right through the wall. So clearly they're seeing something there, but no explanation to what that feud could be related to. Zach then flashes back to his interview with Patty when Patty had told Zach that one of the spirits that she always gets when she's there is a little girl named Sarah. Zach poses the question, could the bones in that grave be those of a little girl named Sarah? I
I
think
mean,
maybe not.
but at least this is like the closest tie he can get, you know.
This is a reasonable assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the bones don't have to be Sarah for Sarah's
Yeah.
spirit to be there.
No.
She very well could be haunting it.
Well, so this is where one of my rebuttals come in.
Go for it.
This feels kind of like a classic ghost girl trope: white dress, tragic ending, mysterious death.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Oh, have you done any research on Sarah?
Well, the thing is, there was no public record of any student deaths on site. No burial records tied to the property.
I wonder I am curious how common it was in like the 1915s or like around that time to have deaths recorded.
Well, the thing is about this school, and I was going to go into this about the
Yeah.
punishment room, but this was like an elite finishing school for
So the
Hollywood
girl, it
royalty.
wasn't like orphans. It was like
No,
girls
it
who
was,
had families.
yeah, it's not like Jean Harlow was weeping into her Latin textbook, you know? If there were any sort of trauma that happened there, we don't have record of it, but these were super rich socialites' children, and they didn't live there, you know? They went to school there.
I was gonna say because Charlie and Mel, I remember like this one school. I feel like it was like in New England. It was like an orphan school where
I
it
think
was
I know. Is it the boys' school?
yeah, where there was like thousands of kids that went like
I think
that
there's
died.
I think there's more than one, but there was one called, I think it's called the White House, and the boys were all assaulted there.
But they were all like
horrific.
They all died, but it was all like they didn't like report it or something.
Oh, it was like all covered up.
It was all covered up.
Yeah.
Like it was just like not like
No, and
all
I
the
think
deaths were unreported.
I was under the impression with the way they talked about this that this was like a boarding school. So it's now that you're saying that, Mel, that they didn't even live there. That's very different.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And it only shut down because of the Great Depression, not because of any sort of scandal or internal controversy
Like
or
the
anything.
socialites couldn't afford to send the kids there anymore.
Yeah, there were
Like,
no, or I don't even think the school could afford to be running anyway, like pay its employees, that kind of stuff. No known lawsuits, reports of abuse, injuries related to student mistreatment, or any public record, school archives, or news clippings from the time.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it was a school for debutantes, not detainees. So,
Gotcha.
Okay.
if there were any sort of bad blood, it's been wiped.
That doesn't mean that there was no trauma that happened there, because girls in Hollywood, regardless of social status, were abused. So that could still be a part of the lore. But it does change things just for me mentally, that they weren't like sleeping there. It wasn't quite as
it wasn't like a boarding school.
Yeah.
It's on La Brea in LA.
Yeah. Well, now we are introduced to Linda the Ghost Hunter, which is how she's introduced to us.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a ghost hunter and a ghost investigator?
I don't know. The way that Zach said it, I was like, is this her like Instagram handle? Linda, like quote unquote, Linda the Ghost Hunter? Like, it did sound a little bit like Ghostbusters or something.
Yeah.
I guess this is just what she prefers to be referred to as. That's what I'm assuming. I don't think there's any
maybe an investigator is using tech and a ghost hunter is like doing some sort of expulsion thing, more of like a
like helps remove the ghosts.
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know. I'm the inexperienced one here.
I've never heard like, yes, in theory, the words investigation and hunting mean different things, but I don't know that this is what that actually means. She kind of acts as if she's a medium, but they don't really say that she's a medium. So not really sure what Linda's credentials are, but I liked Linda. I didn't have a problem with her. So it's nighttime now, and the guys are standing in the alleyway behind the club. Aaron, Billy, and Jay are huddled under one umbrella, and Zach explains that they know who the tough guy is on the crew because he doesn't need an umbrella. He introduces us to Linda the Ghost Hunter.
But then the guys point out because they have equipment in their hands.
Yeah, they're like, but we have our equipment. It can't get wet. So Linda is a member of the women's club, or as Zach likes to say, she's a member of this exclusive private club. Thank you, Zach. So she and Patty are the only people who have ever been allowed to investigate inside of its walls.
Sounds sexual.
Zach opens the doors and everyone heads inside the club. So this is night one. He never introduces it as night one, but we are in night one now. He opens the doors and everyone heads inside and they start to do their preliminary investigation. Zach asks Linda about the dark spirit there. She says there are so many children and good spirits here. There's at least one that she feels really controls the young children and a lot of the other entities in there. She says she doesn't want to say the word evil, but it's a very dark spirit. So we see a reenactment. I thought this was like a very interesting interpretation. So she talks about this dark spirit, and then we see a reenactment of an old, wrinkly, white-haired man with no shirt on.
Like why? Why the half-naked man?
I was like, are you trying to imply he's in his underwear? Like, where'd this come from?
He was very like creepy Albert Einstein-y.
Yes. It was like so strange.
Malnutrition version of Albert Einstein with his hair combed and no shirt.
Lauren, did you notice this reenactment?
No.
You didn't notice this dude?
He stood out to me quite a bit.
You know I zone out half the time.
Well, I feel like they don't normally they kind of explain these reenactment things, but they didn't explain a man until later.
Yeah, this was just
after they showed it.
So strange. Zach says, usually I'll get these flash images sometimes where I can feel it, but I just don't know what it is. It's so interesting to me because like when Zach first started on the show, he didn't have flashes of images. He didn't see things. He wasn't like a medium. And I'm like, I do think that you can tune in and start to get like better at those things. But I do kind of wonder whether or not he actually sees things or if he just really wants to. Like he wants to believe he's seeing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we'll never know because we're not inside of his head. But
Yeah. I wonder what sign he is.
I think we looked it up. He's an Aries, I'm pretty
He's
sure.
Yeah, he has a fire sign.
Yeah.
He's
That's-
definitely
He would either
an
be
Aries.
a fire sign or a Taurus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not. He's
But
not.
yeah, I do think
he's
he's
not
an
an Earth
Aries.
sign. He's a fire
No.
sign for sure.
So Linda says that she doesn't know what it is either, and that's what keeps her coming back. She feels like she feels like these kids need help. Zach asks Linda who she thinks the bones belong to. Linda says she's not sure, but the most common EVP she gets there is the girl named Sarah. Zach again poses the idea that the little girl is somehow associated with the remains. He feels a strong energy drawing him upstairs, so Linda and the guys follow him up. Linda asks if Zach feels like a child drew him up there. And I was like, Linda, don't ask Zach leading questions. Of course he's going to say yes.
I thought you said that they weren't allowed upstairs.
That was in the cottage or the schoolhouse.
The schoolhouse, they're not allowed upstairs.
Yeah, the
Okay,
schoolhouse.
so where are they now? The main?
They're in the main building right now. Like where the social club is held.
Okay.
Where there's like an auditorium and a kitchen and like all
Which
of
the
that.
little girls never were in, by the way.
Gotcha.
Linda asks if he was drawn to a specific room, and Aaron says he feels like this was a room for punishment. Linda says it's got such a negative energy in this room. She says she's never been inside because she's afraid of it. We see a creepy tiny room, like the size of a small walk-in closet or a prison cell with one window. Zach says that he encourages Linda to go into the room with a digital recorder to face her fears and try to gather evidence. He shuts the door behind her. I was like, poor Linda.
That's cruel.
I know. She says, "Hi, you guys know I've been afraid to do this." Aaron is recording EMF spikes on a very small digital EMF reader in the area where Linda has attempted to communicate. Suddenly, the door opens and Linda says that she needs to come out. It was just too intense in there. She says she doesn't know what happened, but she feels like she has vertigo. She feels nauseous and like there was a child by her legs.
Ooh.
It's just so creepy. So now they all sit at a table so they can try to communicate with whatever is in the room with them. Zach says he hasn't felt this disturbed since he's been in the building, but he's feeling it now and he's feeling mad.
Uh-oh.
Angry Zach is here.
Not Zach mad.
Never. Linda says she feels like she's going to cry. She says she feels like a child was so badly hurt in that room. She explains that that's why she's never been able to go in there before. It's devastating to her. Zach explains that he is feeling angry. Surprise, surprise. So Linda asks if maybe he's feeling the male entity and she's bringing up the child energy. I'm like, if that's the case, well, Zach always feels the male energy and the angry energy. Like that is just his go-to all the time.
Yeah,
He's feeling
MO.
anything. Zach says if there is a little girl that needs our help, can you try very hard to do something physical? I know it's hard to do, but can you get our attention? We suddenly hear a bang that sounds like it's in another room. Zach says that's a room where the door is locked, but they have the key. He says, Sarah, are you by this door? Are you trying to tell us to go in here? The EMF reader slowly begins to rise. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It goes all the way up to 25. He says there's a lot of EMF by the window in that little room, and Linda says that's where the kids were hurt. I'm just telling you, I feel it so strong. So, speaking of synchronicities, I had an interesting synchronicity here. executive director Linda D'Onofrio interrupts them. Now, this was very bizarre for me because the pastors who started the church I went to growing up, their last name was D'Onofrio, which is a fairly common Italian last name. Not like the most common, but like I've heard it a bunch. Vincent D'Onofrio is a very famous actor.
Yeah, I was going to say that name sounds familiar.
Yeah. But one
Was
of
he
their
on The
wives.
Sopranos? Was he on that?
No. He was in like Men in Black. Like he plays the guy who's possessed by the alien in Men in Black. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Anyway, one of the wives of one of the pastors I grew up with, her name was Linda. So when they said executive director Linda D'Onofrio, I was like, oh, wow, that's bizarre. I've never heard of anybody else with that name. So that startled me. But anyway, so she interrupted them to say that she had just gotten a call from a psychic friend saying that he is sensing the presence of a child. So this is the first time we're actually seeing like the director, the executive director of the show interrupt everything and be like, I just got a phone call from a psychic. And I was like, oh, this is a interesting spin on things. I've not seen this before.
You know what's
So wait.
funny?
She's the executive director of Ghost Adventures?
No,
Yes.
of the school.
Oh, I thought it was of Ghost Adventures.
No,
I literally thought she was just like
why would she
the
be
I thought she was the executive director of the club.
of the club?
I don't know. Hold on.
No, she's of the club.
I just assumed it was of the TV show.
No, of the club.
What would that mean, executive director?
I don't know.
Guys, maybe it's just a club of spooky witchy women.
Right?
Oh my god. I love that. Is the Hollywood Women's Club just a secret coven of high society socialite?
Oh, former
Witches?
executive director at the Hollywood Club, LA.
Yeah, I was like, why would the Ghost Adventures lady be there?
That is so funny because I definitely thought she was the director. I was so distracted by her name, let me be honest. Like that took me back to my childhood and it took me a second. I was like, wait.
It would really shock
so
me,
to me
if any of the executive level people on the show were women.
Right. Show their face.
But I thought, okay, maybe the executive director of the show she could be a member of the social club, or maybe she knows somebody there. But okay, so that makes this so much weirder. So the woman who
That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
think they're all witches because she got a phone call from her other psychic friend.
Psychic friend.
No, but this is what I was getting at. I feel like everybody in Hollywood probably has a psychic. Like
that's also true.
I feel like everybody goes to a psychic,
an astrologist. Yeah,
everybody does.
But I mean, 2 out of the 3 members of this very exclusive social club have done
investigations,
and paranormal investigators or mediums in some way, and then
exactly.
The executive director
I'm saying in Hollywood, I feel like that's just the way it goes. Like either you have a psychic or you are a psychic.
I do think they all have psychics, but maybe this is the club that they're all calling of psychics. Maybe this is the psychic
Is
hub.
this the secret psychic society?
Did we
I think we just discovered it.
Hollywood.
This
and
is
the
club.
The bones were buried as part of a ritual.
And that's why they didn't want people to know. Maybe they're doing rituals so people can become famous.
This very much reminds me of Paranormal Activity. Like like in the 3rd or 4th one where there was like the
3rd or 4th one. There's a 3rd and 4th one.
There's 8 of them.
Fun fact, one of my brother's friends was in the 4th one, and she was Girl Who Screams in Barn.
That's a fantastic
That's her credit.
In the she's in the credits as Girl Who Screams in Barn. And it's funny. At the end of when they're at the Coven house or whatever.
Yeah. So Lauren, if you're not familiar with Paranormal Activity, and for listeners who are not familiar,
go watch them.
Definitely go watch them. Some of my favorite movies. But it's a long family of witches who have basically agreed to sacrifice their first.
Oh, that's what.
Well, that's a huge spoiler, Charlie. that's like
I'm
movie
sorry.
4.
What the
That's
fuck,
also
Charlie?
okay. Well, you know what? These movies came out over 10 years ago. If you haven't seen them yet, that's like me spoiling The Sixth Sense for you.
Hey.
Like, hey, guess what?
Do
He was
you
dead the whole time.
do you remember?
That's just rude. We may as well tell them Fight Club is not really there.
Do you
Sorry,
remember?
Lauren.
Wait, do you remember when Game of Thrones, the last season was coming out, and I told you guys not to ruin it for me, and you
Yeah,
guys were
Lauren.
like, "No, you can't tell me not to spoil it for you." And I literally binged watched all seasons of Game of Thrones in 2 weeks
So we wouldn't spoil it for you.
before the last season of Game of Thrones came out.
I am willing to.
Because I was so dedicated. I was.
admit that was probably a lot of bullying on my part.
It
I'm
was.
so sorry,
You're
Lauren.
like, you can't tell us we can't spoil it for you. It's been out for 10 years. Blah 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 blah. I was like, oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna watch all 7 seasons in 2 weeks. Watch me. Or 6
Aren't you
seasons.
glad you did though?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could be.
And I literally was like, woke up at like 6 in the morning, watched. I was like, that was 70 hours.
Oh man,
70 hours of.
I'm really proud of you.
I am
Thank
too.
you. Anyways, Mel bullied me. So I watched 7 seasons in 2 weeks. You really did.
Okay, we're going on a very long tangent. So, long story short, you should still watch Paranormal Activity because even though I did kind of spoil a little bit of it for you,
Okay.
you still have to go put all the pieces together. It's worth it. I guarantee you. Okay.
I did confirm, by the way, real quick about the 2 houses. The schoolhouse was the only place the school children ever were. When the women's club purchased the property, they built the Spanish-style clubhouse that still serves today as the clubhouse that they're in. So the schoolhouse is the only thing the girls ever were a part of. The schoolhouse building was built in 1903.
Yes.
The building that the women's club uses now was not built until 1949.
Okay. And the school closed in
that was a big gap.
30 something.
Yeah, and the school closed when the Great Depression in 1933.
Yes. Okay.
So that's the.
Okay. So Linda's feelings are not Linda the ghost hunter, not Linda D'Onofrio. Okay. Anyway, so Linda D'Onofrio says that the psychic was getting the feeling of a child named Layla or Lila. While Linda is talking, Zach starts getting dizzy, like vertigo. I just recently started to experience vertigo for the first time, and it is a pretty trippy feeling when it happens. So,
Did you?
yeah, I don't know why, but in the last like several months, it's possible for it's from all my like hormones and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it's weird. Like you'll be standing there and then all of a sudden you just feel like you're falling.
Oh no,
like,
I've always suffered with that because I've always had inner ear infections.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've never had that happen before. So Linda says, "You're getting the vertigo I had." She tells Zach he needs to be careful because she thinks that angry guy is inside of Zach right now. I am pretty sure Linda has never watched Ghost Adventures before because she is acting like she's shocked and that Zach has no idea what's happening to him. And I'm like, Linda, this happens to Zach pretty much every other episode.
Also, stop egging him on.
Yeah, and stop encouraging it.
Yeah.
So, executive director of the social club, Linda D'Onofrio, explains that the psychic she just spoke to said that the little room used to be the room used for punishment. So this is all very conveniently aligned. But I did say...
But wait, I have a question though. Was the punishment ever confirmed? I'm like confused about this.
No, that's the Mel's whole point. Is that the school wasn't even operating when this building was built.
That they're claiming that they're seeing this little girl in and these children were tortured in was not the time that the little girls were there.
The little girls were there between 1915 and 1933, and this building was not built till, what did you say, 1949?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Confused.
So
unless the witches are capturing little girls and torturing them in the social club.
Yes, unless it is some secret underground steal their youth
souls.
for
Mhm.
Botox and
Just like
And-
the little girl with her hobbled ankles from last week's episode.
Yeah.
oh my god,
Please tell me that made it.
The hobbled ankles are in there.
Okay.
hobbling,
The hobble.
hobbling in the hovel.
So I did acknowledge that I felt like this story was much better aligned than the last few episodes, but now I'm realizing that it's aligned to nothing, really. Zach says if he doesn't get out of the room, he feels like he will black out. He says, I feel like we are caught up in a stir of echoes, and this girl is desperate to transcend whatever realm she is inhabiting. And with that, we end part 1 of
Dun dun dun.
of what did they call this episode? The living dead on La
It was like-
Brea.
I'm like, you said La Brea like one time. Why wouldn't they just call it the? Oh, I guess they already had their Hollywood.
And why the living dead? Where's the zombies?
Well, that's what I was confused about.
Do you know when I read the title of this episode, I
You're a good
actually
copywriter.
thought they were going to be investigating like the location where they filmed the original Living Dead because they've done, the Poltergeist house. So
Yeah.
and the Houdini's séance and all of that. So I was like, "Oh, this is going to be interesting."
Yeah, or if one of the socialites was like in the film Evil
Yeah.
Dead, but
Yeah. Nope, that's not what happened at all.
no.
So join us on Wednesday evening. Thursday morning probably is more accurate for you guys.
And if you're watching this or listening to this on a Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday in the month
Yeah.
of October,
Yeah.
just go on to the next episode.
Yes, you can just if this is not being aired in real time, you can just hop on over to the next episode, skip the intro, and get right into the lockdown and night 2 of this interesting investigation the men have going on here. The gentlemen.
Yes, more to come in there. Lockdown,
Yes.
dental dilemmas.
Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, do all the things. Leave 5 stars if you like us, and leave 5 stars if you don't like us. Thanks. Okay.
Bye.
See you in the shadows.
Oh yeah.
That.
Until next time.
See
See
you
you
in
in
the
the
shadows.
Bye.
Bye.